so excited. We're connecting, and the two of us are bada bing, bada bang, already connected. Wonderful. So good to have you. I am excited to welcome you all to this session together with Kim Lokenberg, a very, very good friend of mine, and the other of the four brown blondes. So you may have seen Vanessa, you may have seen Sophia, and now you have the beauty that is the wonderfulness of Kim. So
yeah, so happy to be here.
Yay. Well, we're going to be talking today about video interviewing. And those of you who may not know Kim, she is famous in the sourcing and in the recruiting community, and has a lot of special insights, particularly around this topic of video, and of course, AirMeet and the other event space. So when it comes to being on video, Kim is the person to go to. So please go ahead and, Lisa is here, awesome. Go ahead and use the Q&A, use the feed. I'm just gonna go off screen. I'm gonna hide myself, but I'm still there because we know Liz is never really gone.
It's so weird that you're presenting me instead of that we're co-hosting. It's
I know.
It's something to get used to. But shall I start sharing my screen?
Yep, please share your screen, my dear.
Oh yeah, and just to inform everybody, I will probably shut down my presentation in the middle because I want to show you something like how I am on the screen. So I'm about to share it right now. Can you see it as a presentation?
It's starting to build up. Yep. Et voila. Okay, now all you have to do is go into presentation. So we have your calendar in the background.
Yeah, oops. Does it work?
There
like
we are.
that?
Perfect. You are good.
Yeah. So welcome all of you. I'm Kim Lokenberg in Dutch. I'm together with the love of my life and my partner in crime, Gordon. We run a global sourcing and recruitment company from the Netherlands. I love HR. I love recruitment. I love the tech of it. I'm an advisor as well. And just on a fun note, I'm a licensed BI. So be careful because otherwise I'm coming for you. So today we're going to talk about video interviewing. Myself started on camera because of COVID, and all of a sudden I was presenting digitally instead of in front of an audience, which was kind of scary, and it all comes at you, but you're talking to a black wall, as I am now. But because of the tech and knowing AirMeet, I can actually switch from screens so I can see myself talk. But this is the same for people who are doing a job interview. It was weird because normally you dress up, you go to an office, you meet the people there. So there is some changes, but are there that many changes? So let's have a look. Job interviewing in the old days. So what did you do? You prepared well. You knew everything about the job. You knew everything about the company. You knew who you were speaking with, the hiring partners or the recruiters or whomever. You would dress up to the nines because you want to look good. You would sit in a spot where the light would not hit you in the eyes because you want to look really good. One of the things is that's all changed. So that's one thing you did. And what I always used to do as being a recruiter, but also as being an interviewee, was never sit opposite of each other because that feels really awkward. It's like far away and opposite of each other. So what I used to do was sit in a 90-degree angle so you have an actual conversation where you can relax a little bit. It's also about how you look for your speaking opponent or person. So how does that work now? Oh, wow, you still prepare well. You still know everything about the job. You still know the company. You might even do a little bit more of a deep dive because, well, everything's digital. So it's easier to go a little bit deeper. Still, you dress up to the nines, a lot, at least from the waist up. A lot of people do that, just like, oh, put on a nice shirt or a nice dress or whatever. I would suggest dress the same way as if you would go to an in real life interview, because that's how it works. That's how I do. If I work from home, it's fine. I dress as I please. But if I'm gonna be on screen, I will dress up just the same as I would be on stage, or if I would go to a client in a face-to-face meeting. Make sure your background is a little bit cleaned up. I have a very boring background here in my office, so I put a nice poster of myself there. But when you're working from home, make sure that like your coffee table is a little bit organized. It makes you feel a little bit more comfortable yourself. And check your internet connection and your tools. Although, do not fuss too much about it, because for me, it's part of the deal. We all work from home. I live just outside of Amsterdam. What can you imagine if from day one to the other, almost 1 million people were using the same kind of internet? Of course, your internet connection will not always be up to speed. Check it. And if it's not up to speed as you want, mention it to the company who you're talking to. Like, well, I'm having a bit of an issue because of blah, 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 blah. But what else? So I'm going to go a little bit more deep in the surroundings. Not me being as a recruiter, but more as tips what you can do yourself to feel more comfortable. And then I will get back a little bit into what a recruiter expects or what I would expect. So we all work from home. At least 90% of us here in the Netherlands, everybody's almost obliged to work from home. If you have kids in your house or a dog, which I have a dog and I have kids, but just mention it to the company. As soon as you mention it up front, like, okay, it could be that my dog starts to bark, or I have a 2-year-old, and yeah, it's a little bit hard to say if she's gonna cry or not. Just mention it up front and make it. Do not apologize for it, but just mention it. Like, this is what's going on in my house, and this is where I have to interview from. Look at the spaces. Having said, I live near Amsterdam. My house is not that big, so I do not have an extra office space. But make sure you have a space where you feel comfortable, where you're like, okay, this is my spot. Here is where I feel okay, and this is where I feel I can do my interview. And then, of course, watch the light. If you're sitting next to a window where the sun is coming through, you will be like highlighted. People will not be able to see your face. It's actually the same thing as you would do in real life interviews. Just watch a little bit where you're gonna sit. If you have how do you say the things, like a table lamp, put it behind your screen so that you have a little bit of a front light. It lights out your face a little bit more and makes you more human again. So just play around with these kind of tips. Also, if you have lights from behind, tune them down if possible, because that, again, it flashes into the camera, and the people on the other side of your screen cannot really follow you or see you. You want to have the least bits of distraction from the people you're talking to. Again, that also counts for the coffee table, or but you can also make a little bit fun of it. Hang a nice poster of yourself, like I did, and make it a little bit more interactive for the people you talk to. Then, of course, computer and video. Not everybody has a super duper laptop or a super duper desktop. We have to do whatever we have. Just make sure you're comfortable that it's working. So check up front, and if it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. Do not get stressed out about it. Just say like, oh, my internet connection fell down, or my computer let me down. The best tip I heard last week was, if you're insecure of your internet connection, or with, for instance, with Zoom and your connection on that, have your phone as a reserve, or like an extra, where you can use it. If your sound drops off, you can always call in. So at least you still have the conversation going. And then we're coming to what I think is really important, the chair and your position. what we see a lot of the time is that people work from a um, laptop. So I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 second so I can show you actually what I mean, and you will see immediately what I mean. So I'm now in front of my screen, but I'm a little bit behind, just as I would in a normal interview. If you look at a lot of people having video calls, everybody has video calls, they're like this in your screen and looking at you. Also, a lot of people are having their laptops at the table and look at you like this. What it does is you actually look down on people. This is what happens in the brain as well. I'm looking down on you guys. Definitely not what I mean, but the perception on the other side of the screen will be like that, even subconsciously. So take that in hand. If you do not have, like I have a screen which I can go up and down, if you do not have it, just put phone books, if someone even has phone books. But I could show you pictures of my setup sometimes. I would stash books underneath it or organize or whatever. Just make sure you're on a certain level that you're actually talking to each other. And also, go away from your computer. Just sit down, sit relaxed, like you would do in a normal conversation. Even though you think you're a little bit further away, you make an extra connection instead of just going in there and completely lost or losing your opponent or your other speaker. I think that that's really important to know. Just take some space because then you can breathe. If you cannot breathe because you're at your desk and you're stressed, this is what the interviewers will see as well. And please do not forget that the most recruiters I know, most sources I know, well, sources are a lot more comfortable with tech and video. I had to get used to it, even though I was a speaker before. But I'm very subconscious on, oh, I see myself. Oh, this is scary. But it's not that scary. Just think of it that they have to do the same thing. I'm working with clients where the recruiters cannot wait to go back to the old days, which will never going to happen anytime soon. So they are very subconscious as well. They are nervous about the talk. So look at them as like, okay, what are their, oh, I see that they're insecure. Oh, that's good. And go into that flow that it's okay to be yourself and it's okay to be a little bit insecure on video. Everybody has that, and it's definitely something recruiters struggle with a lot. I can tell you, take it from me. Also enjoy it a little bit. I got a great tip from one of my clients who I think would be really cool if some people do that because it's different and you cannot show. I saw Kimo talking about it earlier today. Like, how can you show what you're actually good at? Well, make a little bit of a presentation about yourself. Just show them a small PowerPoint, like I'm Kim and I'm a sourcer in Amsterdam. And of course, they know your resume, they've seen your profile, but at least it's a little bit new. So try to find some gadgets which you wouldn't do in real life, but would definitely fit the transcript of video interviewing. I mean, this is gonna be mainstream. Well, it's already mainstream, but it's even gonna be more mainstream. That being said, what recruiters would like to do, they tend to get into the conversation as if it was in real life. Don't let yourself be fooled by this. It's different, and you can be upfront of it because you are now like, okay, I'm doing a video interview. I'm sitting straight. I'm relaxed. I'm not crossing my arms because that's what you normally do. No, just you're in the advantage at some point because a lot of the recruiters are still struggling how to video interview themselves. Sorry, I'm just reading a question from Jerry. So you're saying it's best to position yourself so the top of your head reaches halfway up your screen, no closer than this. Well, you have to play around with it. It's more that you're not looking down on people, so you can see yourself. If I'm going like this, I look down a little bit. So this is why I'm getting a little bit further away. But I have a different webcam on this computer than on my laptop at home. So that's why I'm a little bit further away. Also, take into consideration that every platform has a different camera angle. So with Zoom, if I'm sitting in this position and I would be in a Zoom meeting, I would be a lot closer to the screen. If I would be in a Teams meeting, I would be a lot further. So always test it a little bit up front, how to do this and how you feel yourself comfortable. If you feel you're too far away and you're uncomfortable with it, move closer. It's all about that you come into your like zone or bubble where you feel comfortable to do the video interview. Just gonna share my screen for the last few slides. And I hope you can see that now. If someone can say yay or nay, then yeah, okay, thank you. I love the fact that, yay! I love the fact that everybody's commenting on the ring lights. I just love the ring light. I bought it for $5, and I'm so happy with it. I'm just with my last light, Liz. So if I go, right, is it? Oh yeah. So last but not least, do not freak out when the tech lets you down. Just tell them what you're struggling with. Have your phone as a backup. Second, the interviewer, if it's a hiring partner or recruiter or TA, whatever, sourcer, they're still getting used to video interview. They're actually doing courses and training on this. Take this to your advantage. They're just as nervous as you are. And do not forget to enjoy. It is also fun. I was scared to death a year ago when I first did my first digital thingy, and now I'm loving it. And then I hope you get your dream job. So that was it for now. I'm not sure if I'm way under time or way over time. Liz, are you there?
I am not a huge fan of this hide and unhide. It seems like it's forever for me to unhide.
Yeah, no, so I'd rather took it a little like really simple and just wanted to answer some questions from people who wanted tips or tricks or whatever.
Yep, exactly. So and a couple of the tips were, okay, there were a couple of questions about your dog, because we all know that your dog likes to search in your cupboard. So it's good that you're here for this session.
She was being a really good dog. I'm so glad that I had this time slot. During the day, it's a little bit different sometimes, but she's doing well. She's sleeping somewhere.
So so please go ahead and ask some questions, folks. But I think one of the things that we were talking about in our kind of prep was there's a lot of concern like HireVue or one of the, here, how are we understanding your mimicry? So a lot of, also getting interviewed by tools and systems. So can you perhaps say a little bit of something about that?
Yeah, I'm always a little bit, I think it's a human thing and a human interest. And I know that there's a lot of machines looking with us or not with us the idea behind it is, of course, is okay to get bias out of the way. But to be honest, most interviews I see happening is still face-to-face. And of course, they try to get systems into the metrics. But that's where you have assessments for. And if the recruiter or the hiring partner who is doing the interview is a good one, in my opinion, they will always take it to the human level. I mean, I had numerous discussions, and this is why I keep on saying, don't freak out if the tech lets you down. And the same if they are asking you a question because you twitch with your eye, which I do. That's their problem. That doesn't mean you're not good at your job. Try to redirect the questions to the job. And to what it enhances and why are they interested in you? Because the world still works a little bit like we need you more than they need us. So from that perspective, be confident in what you want to share with them. What you also can do is ask them for agenda for your interview. And this is different than in real life. You can say, like, what's the agenda? How much time are we going to spend? Yeah. Because now we actually have like an hour or an hour and a half, where when you had in real life interviews, oh, you could chat away like for 2 hours sometimes. So ask them for an agenda and ask them like, also, what's your perspective from this interview? What do you want to learn from me so I can prepare?
Yeah.
So you can prepare way more than you used to do in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think that aspect about being proactive and also, thinking about what you want to express, because that's also that, a lot of companies are asking for pre-recorded videos, and it's the same thing. There are a couple of tips on the side of saying practice with friends, here, what is your elevator speech? What are those pieces that you want to convey? I think the idea of an agenda is awesome. And one question that comes in, and we'll be talking about this also later in the week, is can virtual interviews be more biased than in-person ones? Any tips to warm up with the recruiter?
Well, and I think this is actually a really interesting one, Pablo. Thank you for asking, because this is a big struggle, I guess, for everyone. We're constantly talking about bias. We're constantly talking about diversity. What I think in-person interviews a lot of the times are more biased than digital.
Yeah.
Because it's about the socks you wear, it's about the shoes you wear. Even this, what I'm wearing now, I'm looking at color. For instance, this orange or reddish colors or vibrant, bright colors fits my skin tone. If I would wear this to the office, to an interview, probably would say like, oh, that's way too casual. So in that sense, that kind of bias, again, bias on smell. They don't like your cologne, or they don't like your, well, so either way, the bias will be there. If you're a biased person, and everybody has subconscious bias, it's very difficult. But I still see that it was more in real life interviews than in video interviews. How to overcome it? Again, ask for an agenda. Ask for what they're looking for. Again, we're still in the time, even though there's a lot of people unemployed, and I'm happy to help them out. If anybody is looking for a job, reach out to me, and I will try to help you out with tips and tricks. But again, they want you and I'm just speaking as a person, but they want you more than you want them, even though you need a job right now to pay your mortgage or your rent. But always believe that. So you're also in the lead to ask, what do you want to hear from me?
Yeah.
What do you want to get out of this interview?
Yeah.
And in that sense, you can take a little away from the bias. And what you said, Liz, with the pre-recorded videos, I'm having a really big issue. If I would have to do that, I would freeze, and I would probably call you or the other 4 non-blondes but this is going to be the future. There are some huge companies who are thriving. They already were growing big time a couple of years. But this is what, and again, this is also trying to get away from the bias, even though other companies do it with facial recognition, and that's gaining bias in my sense.
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, and we can continue this discussion at the tables. I mean, it's definitely a watch for, in terms of watch this space, particularly around D&I. So on Friday, we're also going to be touching up on a couple of those unspoken themes and what are some of the challenges that need to be addressed. So with that, huge debt of gratitude. Wonderfully done. Thank you very much, Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz.
Great comments and great ideas. So with that, we are going to let you guys out. Go have a break. Go to the social lounge, meet some new people, talk about your favorite cartoons, whatever it is, and we'll be seeing you guys soon. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.